Black wildebeest. Common name, black wildebeest. Scientific name, Conochetes nu. Wild status. Least concern habitat, grasslands, open woodlands. Country, Tanzania and Kenya. Shelter, finds protection in herds. Lifespan, 20 years. Size, males 345 pounds, females 270 pounds. What is a behavioral adaptation of a wildebeest? Wildebeest's calves can stand and run within minutes of being born. This is an adaptation to avoid predation from lions, hyenas, leopards, cheetahs, and jackals. Cool facts: both males and females have horns, but they are sexually dimorphic. Females' horns are shorter and slender. Black wildebeests have scent glands located on their front feet, under the tufts on their chest, and in front of their eyes. Nasal botflies use the black wildebeests as host throughout all their life stages. The blue wildebeest is the only other known species of wildebeest. They have been observed to hybridize with the black wildebeests, producing fertile offspring, commonly born with formalities. Details: black wildebeests have dark brown to black coats. They do not have any patterning on its body, but will typically have a darker colored face. They have short, cream-colored and dark-tipped manes on the back of their neck. They have dark coarse hair under its jaw, rostrum, and belly. Their tails are long with cream-colored long hair. They resemble horse tails. Both male and female counterparts have broad, upwardly curved horns. Females' horns are shorter and narrower and are generally smaller in body size. Taxonomic breakdown: Kingdom, Animalia. Phylum, Chordata. Class, Mammalia. Order, Artiodactyla. Family, Bovidae. Subfamily, Alcelaphinae. Genus, Conochetes. Species, see New Conservation and Helping. Black wildebeests are listed as a species of least concern on the IUCN Red List. They were nearly extinct at the end of the 19th century after almost being hunted to extinction. Efforts with remaining game reserve and zoo populations have helped bring back a stable population. Unfortunately, they are vulnerable to hybridization with the closely related blue wildebeest. Wildebeest characteristics: the wildebeest has interesting looks, the head of a cow, the body and tail of a horse, and the legs of a gazelle. These animals are even more interesting because they don't all look the same. Some wear a light gray coat while others sport a shade of blue-gray. The darkest of this species, however, is gray-brown in color. All wildebeests have dark brown stripes on their shoulders that run down vertically. Additionally, they have a thick and long black mane, but the most distinct feature on this animal is the long beard on its neck, which can be pale or dark. All wildebeests have horns that curl away from their heads, with males having larger horns. In fact, a male wildebeest's horns can be twice the size of those of a female. Males can have horns growing as long as 83 centimeters, while a female's horns will rarely grow longer than 40 centimeters. For some reason, the horns tend to get rougher as the animal ages. The wildebeest can reach a height of up to 1.35 meters at the shoulders and can weigh up to 200 kilograms. For a rough comparison, a full-grown animal can weigh as much as a full-grown male lion. Despite their size, wildebeests are vulnerable to the lions, wild dogs, cheetahs, and hyenas of the African savanna, and as such, need to travel in herds for protection. A herd can have as many as 1,000 animals, especially during migration. Range and habitat: being nomadic animals, wildebeests live either in grassy plains or in woodlands. You are most likely going to find them in the world-famous Masai Mara National Reserve in Kenya or Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. However, you can also find them in the southern part of Africa. These herbivores thrive in the savanna grasslands, as grass tends to grow quicker in these areas. Even though wildebeests tend to live together, they do not seem to mind the company of zebras, as their feeding habits are complementary to each other. Zebras love eating the top layer of grass, while wildebeests prefer the bottom layer. This also explains why they migrate together. Diet: unlike antelopes such as impalas, elands, or blackbucks, the wildebeest is a grazer. This means that it predominantly feeds on grass. While there isn't always a choice in the wild, the gnu prefers short tender grass that grows shortly after the rains. For this reason, wildebeests are always on the road looking for fresh grass and water. Owing to their huge size, these animals have to graze all day in order to meet the daily nutritional requirements. As an adaptation, wildebeests have a wide mouth, which allows them to feed quickly as they have to constantly look out for predators. When grass is not available, they will eat succulent plants. Structural adaptation in black wildebeests. The wildebeest's feeding apparatus, a wide muzzle, a broad row of incisors, and flexible lips, is well adapted for taking big bites of short grass. And in overall build, the wildebeest has evolved to survive the rigors of migration and evade predators. The body mass is concentrated in the upper torso and thick neck, and is supported by long, relatively spindly legs, which enable the animal to run in bursts as fast as 40 miles an hour. In addition, the wildebeest has high shoulders and a back that slopes down to lower hindquarters, a configuration that locomotion specialists believe is energetically efficient for traveling long distances at an easy canter. The spotted hyena, the ranking predator of wildebeests, has a similar conformation. The openings of the wildebeest's nostrils are equipped with flaps that help filter the dust stirred up by thousands of migrating animals. Pungent secretions from glands in the front hooves help wildebeests follow each other by scent, even on the darkest nights. Wildebeests share the grazing lands with zebras. The wildebeest's dark color and reverse countershading, darker below and lighter above, the opposite of most antelopes, make it conspicuous and unlikely to be confused with any other herbivore. This uniform helps bind wildebeests together, but it also makes them conspicuous to predators. Their anti-predator strategy must therefore rely on vigilance and flight. Behavior and lifestyle. Few animals can rival the wildebeest's nomadic nature. These animals begin their long journey after the calving season in the Serengeti National Park and move 3,000 kilometers south into the Masai Mara Game Reserve in Kenya. Contrary to popular belief, this is not a straightforward journey but rather a rhythmic one without a definite starting point and end point. What is certain, however, is that it is a treacherous odyssey, and only the fittest animals survive. Crossing the Mara River is a spectacle that has been recognized as one of the natural wonders of the world. Close to 2 million animals jumping into a crocodile-infested river and making a run for dear life is not something that can be witnessed anywhere. Wildebeests are active in the mornings and late afternoons to escape the midday heat and sleep at night. Unfortunately, they tend to make a lot of noise while resting, which makes them vulnerable to predation. Reproduction. Female wildebeests mature between the ages of 2 and 3 years, while males mature at 3 or 4 years. Upon reaching sexual maturity, males leave their herd to form theirs or wander away to join other herds. A male wildebeest usually sets up its territory by marking it with feces or urine. Males will fight off other males attempting to enter their herd. Females stay with their mother's herd, even though they have been known to veer off to other herds. As expected, males are usually accepting of new females. The gestation period of a wildebeest is about 8 months, with mating being seasonal. Wildebeests seem to have perfect timing as most calves are usually born close to the beginning of the rainy season when food is plenty. Fun wildebeest facts. Wildebeests, calves can stand and run within minutes of being born. This is an adaptation to avoid predation from lions, hyenas, leopards, cheetahs, and jackals. A wildebeest can live for as long as 20 years during the Great Wildebeest Migration. Wildebeests and associated animals can number close to 2 million. Wildebeests are some of the most phenomenal animals on the planet. They are strong, determined, and vibrant. While there are those who find them unattractive or not charming enough, the truth is that they are some of the toughest animals you will ever come across. And they have no apologies to make. Black Wildebeest versus Blue Wildebeest. Who knew? Wildebeest roam the plains all over Africa. You'll often spot them grazing alongside eye-catching zebras, Thompson's gazelles, and other herbivores. What you might not know is that wildebeest, also known as gnu, come in two separate species, each with different striking characteristics. The first is the blue wildebeest, also known as the brindled gnu or white-bearded wildebeest. The second being the black wildebeest, aka the white-tailed gnu. Blue wildebeest versus black wildebeest. Summary: both wildebeest types are antelope in the Conochetes genus. Both species have horns, broad muzzles, and shaggy tails and manes. Blue wildebeest are larger, weighing between 180 and 250 kg. Black wildebeest are smaller, weighing in at between 155 and 180 kg. Blue wildebeest have horns that curve sideways out from the head. Black wildebeest horns curve forward. Both wildebeest have an interesting history. Black and blue gnu animal history. Blue wildebeest silhouettes in dust at sunrise, Kalahari Desert, South Africa. Both gnu species belong to the Bovidae family, which also contains sheep, goats, antelopes, cattle, and other even-toed ungulates. Its closest relatives are the Hirola, hartebeest, and some of the fastest antelope species, such as toppie and chesub. The name wildebeest is Dutch for wild cattle, or, you may have guessed, wild beast. Conochetes, the genus name, stems from the Greek words konos meaning beard and ket meaning flowing hair. A great hint as to the general appearance. The word gnu is more controversial, with some sources saying it stems from the Kokho name for the animals, tinu. Opposing sources claim that the word derives from the San people's name for the black wildebeest, gnu. Dutch settlers first saw wildebeest in the 1700s as they trekked to South Africa's center. A century later, Westerners in North South Africa stumbled upon the blue wildebeest. In the early 20th century, there was confusion relating to the wildebeest races. At one time, many saw them as separate types. At another, people regarded them as one species. In the mid-20th century, those in the know recognized them as two different species, GT, Albojubatus and Gorgon taurinus hecki. The blue and black wildebeest were the final result of this back and forth. Blue and black wildebeest facts. You now know about the history of the wildebeest and a few of the differences between the black and blue wildebeest species. Now, take a look at these interesting facts about the two species' diet, appearance, living habits, and habitats. What do wildebeest eat? Black wildebeest in green field blooming with purple pom-pom flowers. Both wildebeest species are grass-munching herbivores. The blue wildebeest predominantly sticks to short grasses, which usually grow from light, alkaline soils on the plains and savanna grasslands. They feed day and night, and when grass isn't available, they will happily eat shrub and tree foliage. Black wildebeest have similar eating habits to blue wildebeest, sometimes eating shrubs when grass is scarce. Water is essential for both species, which is why you'll often find them in areas with easily available water sources. Both wildebeest types have interesting dining companions. You will frequently find wildebeest associating with plains zebras as they collaborate in grass matters. You see, zebra eat the upper, less nutritious layer of the grass canopy. This exposes the lower, tastier grass that the wildebeest prefer. Both wildebeest species also act as restaurant buffets for the agile cattle egret. These birds pick out the ticks and insects hidden in their hides to get a good meal. As herbivores, both species are also the targets for Africa's top predators. Their major predators include fierce lion, cunning hyena, wild dogs, and rare cheetah. What does a wildebeest look like? As mentioned, the blue wildebeest is larger than its black counterpart. However, there are other differences between these two groups of gnus. The blue wildebeest's horns protrude to the side, curve slightly downwards before turning up back towards the skull. Make a gun shape with your fingers and place the tips of the index fingers against the sides of your face and you'll get the idea. Black wildebeest horns face forward and curve downwards before turning upwards. The blue and black namesakes hint at their difference in coloring. The blue gnu tends to be a dark gray with textured stripes and even a bluish sheen. Black wildebeest have brownish hair with a mane that ranges from black to cream and a sweet cream-hued tail. Both species are similar in that they have heavier forequarters compared to their hindquarters, and both sport impressive Roman noses. What is the size of a wildebeest? Blue wildebeest at a local waterhole in the Kalahari, South Africa. You know the answer to what does a gnu look like. Now, let's size them up. Male blue wildebeest stand at about 150 centimeters tall, average shoulder height, and females reach 135 centimeters. Black wildebeest come in a little shorter, with females being 108 centimeters tall and males being between 111 and 120 centimeters tall. Male blue wildebeest weigh up to 250 kilograms, whereas females come in at around 180 kilograms. Black wildebeest males weigh the same as female blue wildebeest. The black wildebeest female weighs in at 155 kilograms. What is the geographic range of a wildebeest? Blue wildebeest are one of the most abundant big game species in East Africa. Some blue wildebeest populations embark on the annual Great Migration, where you can see over 2 million animals make their way over East Africa. They have both migratory and sedentary gnu groups. Blue wildebeest are widespread and evident in private game farms and reserves all over Africa. They are native to Angola, Botswana, Kenya, Mozambique, South Africa, Swaziland, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe. Conservationists estimate the blue gnu population to be over 1.5 million. They are a species of least concern according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Black wildebeest are nomadic and often have a demarcated home range. The males may have territories between 100 and 400 meters apart. The distance can vary depending on the habitat quality. Female black wildebeest have home ranges about 100 hectares in size. Hunting almost completely wiped out their natural populations in southern Africa in the 19th century. Hunters sought them for their meat and hides. Fortunately, several parties reintroduced the species from captivity, both in game reserves and private concessions. These reserves exist throughout Lesotho, South Africa, and Swaziland. They also roam outside the natural range in Namibia and Kenya as a result of reintroduction. What are gnu wildebeest living habits? Two black wildebeest males facing opposite directions, as if they were upset with one another. Both black and blue gnus are active in the early morning and late afternoon, preferring to miss the hottest hours of the day. Both species can run at a speed of 80 km per hour. This puts them on par with a lion's speed, making it a life and death race between predator and prey. Both species have territorial bulls. Blue gnu bulls demarcate their territory boundaries with scent gland secretions and strategically placed dung heaps. Black and blue wildebeest males will use body language to assert their authority with an erect stance, ground pawing, horning, defecation. Bellowing in both species, a challenge between two bulls, involves an elaborate ritual. The males approach one another with heads lowered. They follow this gesture with movements, like standing at a reverse parallel angle, where one male urinates and the other sniffs and conducts a phlegm response. They may then repeat the ritual, taking opposite roles. The two bulls may also toss their horns at one another, dismissively look away, or circle. After this, the fight begins and can vary from low intensity, a light bashing of the horns, to a high intensity battle. What is the habitat of a wildebeest? You'll find blue wildebeest residing in a variety of habitats, including grassland and woodland. The black wildebeest, on the other hand, like to reside purely in open grassland areas. Blue gnus may migrate in winter, traveling over long distances, whereas the black wildebeest does not. Wildebeest baby. Differences between blue and black. Mother blue wildebeest and her calf in the Ngorongoro Crater Conservation Area. You know the facts about these adult, wild beasts. Now to learn a bit about the cute babies. Let's take a look at these baby wildebeest. Females give birth to baby wildebeest after an 8.5-month gestation period. They usually give birth to one calf at a time. The calves learn to walk quickly. They have to be mobile to stand a chance at survival in the face of the savanna's predators. Blue wildebeest are born a tawny brown color. At 2 months old, they begin to take on the adult dark gray hue. Black wildebeest calves have fawn-colored shaggy hair and males are darker than females. A curious difference in the reproduction of these species is the mother's milk. The female black wildebeest has milk that is higher in protein, lower in fat and lactose than the blue wildebeest. Consider it the Atkins diet's version. Blue male wildebeest reach sexual maturity at around 2 years old. Black wildebeest take a little longer at about 3 years. Both species' average lifespan is about 20 years. Where to see blue and black wildebeest? You're clued up on the facts of black wildebeest versus blue wildebeest. Now, all that's left for you is to don a bush hat, grab your binoculars, and go and see them in the natural habitat.